On this week's GTA 5 o'clock, all the details from the Doomsday Heist Act 1, everything you need to know before playing, and all the details about how many GTA dollars you'll need to play. It's all here on this special episode of GTA 5 o'clock. Hello and welcome to the second of our GTA 5 o'clock specials, all about the Doomsday Heist. My name is James Jarvis and I'm joined once again by Dan Dawkins.
Top of the day to you, sir.
Hello. So yes, Dan, the Doomsday Heist, we've played them, well, we've essentially played Act 1 so far, which is a massive multi-part mission where you have to do loads of different things, and it's really exciting. So we're going to give you guys the details of what you have to do to enter the heists, like how they all work, the things that you'll be doing, the different vehicles you'll be getting, and essentially, or especially, how much fun we actually had playing them.
Yeah, I mean, let's be honest, what an amazing... it was an invitation from Rockstar we had to keep secret about to play the game. I thought it was fantastic, and hands up, I haven't played much GTA Online in recent history. It was like slipping on, I would say, a comfy pair of slippers, but in fact they were like an exploding pair of rocket slippers. And it's just great fun to be back in the world. And I guess, we can dive in and talk about what we played just in a second. I think, what I want to talk about is, again, the loot-shaped elephant in the room, and talk about what's the real cost of playing this, because, up front, the cost is free. This is a free update that anyone who owns GTA can take hold of, but of course, it isn't actually free, because you need to use virtual GTA Online dollars to take part. Now, when we played it, we were obviously lucky enough, we weren't told to go in with our own money and pay for it. We had a real sort of Justin Bieber stroke Puff Daddy VIP red carpet experience, and we got to really throw money and get to experience all the kit and equipment. But I don't think that will be the reality for everybody. And in fact, I tallied up that I was made like CEO of our heist group. Yeah,
which you inventively called... Can you remember what you called it?
Delta Mega Team?
That's right.
Yeah, badass. So Delta Mega Team, the accountant must have to be quite skilled, because I reckon we racked up in the order of $11 million of expenditure on just part one of the heist. I will add, and I cannot be clear enough about this, we were spending like money was free.
Yeah.
Like, we were absolutely going for it. We were pimping out everything, buying unlimited ammo, weapons, every upgrade. It was really wild. But, what would you say, James? Because there is a minimum bar virtual fee, because you have to buy what's called a private military base. It's like a Bond villain base to take part in the heists. Can you recall what was the base level for that? And hey, people can find out because they can play it right now, but can you recall what that was?
I can't remember exactly how much it was. Like you say, there are a number of new bases now dotted around Los Santos, which you can choose whichever one you want to go and buy, which becomes your base of operations, which, from the things you've seen in the trailer and the stuff you're seeing on screen, is where the giant briefing room is. That's basically where you go now with your new... Where you used to have the planning boards, which was just in an apartment. Now you have this big, lavish, LED screen that shows everyone exactly what's happening. That lives in your base of operations that you have to buy. Now, obviously, as Dan said, we pimped ours right out, and you made some interesting design choices on the walls and things, but base level, it's going to cost you at least a couple of million.
Yeah, I think we bought one of the 9 bases. We chose the one that was closest to the north of Los Santos. There's many further afield across the map. I think we spent in the region of $2 to $3 million acquiring the baseline base, and I think about another $2 to $3 million buying every single one of the 4 upgrades. And they were things like weapons rooms, things that were nice, but in a way kind of peripheral. There were other ways to do this stuff, but we really spent on all of it. I also dropped the best part of, and again, don't quote me on the figure, I think between $3 and $5 million buying an orbital laser.
Yeah, now that's the thing you see in the trailers when everyone goes and looks around that big circular room, which is very Bond villain-esque, where you go in and it's basically a one-shot kill thing on anyone in the map. So the map you get in the middle of the screen is the live free roam player lobby, and you can either manually target that laser where you just drive it around and see a player and go, I'm going to blast them with my massive space laser, or you can use automatic targeting where you get a list of players who are in that lobby and you just select the one that I guess you hate the most, and then you just automatically fire a laser at them. Now, there is a massive cooldown time once you have fired it, so you can't go around spamming the whole lobby full of laser fire.
Yeah, and apart from that, there's the cooldown time, so once you fired it, you can't keep spamming it. And again, the cost to entry is millions of dollars, so not everyone's going to have one. It is really powerful, but it's only like a smart bomb on a very localized area of the map. So, it's a cool addition. It makes you feel powerful. It's not the most important thing ever. I guess the thing I wanted to get across was, let's say, you bought GTA 5 and played it a lot in single player, but didn't really get involved online. You may have received, and when you log in, you may receive, a nice money leg up from Rockstar. I don't know what the latest situation is, but let's say you started on $0, which isn't the case. I think you'd have to spend the equivalent of like a whale shark card to get up and running. And a whale shark card is $3.5 million, which equates to $49.99, and that's like an undiscounted version of it, or £30.79, which, and again, I've seen online for £18. So, I think you are looking at, and again, this is if you had $0 virtual dollars, and you may well have millions of dollars in your account anyway, so in which case it is free, inverted commas. Now, all right, it's then it's smuggled cost of what, £20 to £30, $40 or whatever it is. Is that so bad, right, for what is an absolutely zinging full AAA production heist? We played just part one of the heist.
Yeah.
And this was with Rockstar, who knew what they were doing, telling us what to do. I reckon we played that for 5 hours, maybe.
Yeah.
And I thought it was fun and challenging. And, there's 2 more which are even bigger beyond that. So you're looking at, tens and tens and tens of hours, right?
Yeah,
of extra gameplay.
I think you said, as we were talking about it after we played it, that essentially for those wanting the single player DLC, and whether or not that is still coming, this is essentially your single player DLC.
Yes.
Like, this is a big, you're talking 15, 20 hours of gameplay here just to go through it maybe once. And, and it's basically a multiplayer new story. It just happens to be the online version where you can go and play with your mates and do whatever you want. But it's a fully fledged story. You go through it. There are chapters. There are different acts to do. It's just, instead of being a single player only, you get to take all your mates with you.
Yeah, and like you say, the key thing is that there's really big, strict cutscene beats. There's a clear narrative. It's not super dense and plot heavy, but it does introduce, and I guess this is a nice segue into what we actually saw. It does introduce this character, this billionaire entrepreneur, Avon Hertz, who's technology focused and drives an electric powered car, which is one of the new cars they introduced quite recently. That was quite a nice little secret prelude to this. Now, he is in no way inspired by any real life electric car driving CEOs. He just happens to have similar hairstyles and a name that's not dissimilar.
Yeah, just like there are some new vehicles and things in this DLC that are definitely in no way related to any 80s movies cars or anything like that.
Yeah, in no way. And again, the plot is quite fun. It's very topical. It's very Rockstar. Essentially, this guy Avon Hertz is he's found like there's like a doomsday level threat for the US that he's decided only he can solve, because the FBI and the CIA or whoever else is in the acronym side are no good and can't help him. So he's recruited people who are like lunatic and deadly enough to help him, which is us.
Yeah.
Of course. And of course Lester comes back into the fray from GTA, so Lester's kind of the point man on our side for that. And also this guy Avon Hertz works with a neural network called Clifford. Now Clifford's like the world's biggest AI network, and he's hungry for data. And even in the bit we played, there seemed to be a subtext of maybe Clifford's the baddie.
Yeah.
But let's see. It was definitely really fun, and in a way, it's all a big MacGuffin, as they say. Like, it's all an excuse to get hold of this like billionaire's tech equipment to fight really massive powers beyond your normal day to day. And I think as well, what I really liked about it, the entire idea of who's the actual threat was massively fudged, to the point where someone said, "Come on, it's the Russians. Yeah. It's clearly the Russians." And like even that is a classic bit of Rockstar sideswipe over political comment.
So should we get on to the stuff that we played then? It starts off by basically only one of you has to have the millions in the bank to be able to afford this base in your team of between 2 and 4 people. So if there is one of you in the people that you play with regularly online that maybe has more money than everyone else, that's fine. They can just be the CEO. They are the ones who get to name the company. In this case, it was Dan with our Delta Mega Ultimate Squad, or whatever you called it.
Delta Mega Team, my friend, I think.
So Dan was in charge of the money aspect, basically. And it works the same way as all the other heists. You go out, you do the thing, and then at the very end, on the final payoff, you get to decide who gets the percentage cut of however much money you're going to be taking away. Which, considering that you did spend a good, like, cool 10 to 15 mil, didn't get your money back, did you? Which you were quite sad about.
Were I Alan Sugar in the UK or latterly Donald Trump, this would be a Trump-level investment where I sunk $11 million into personally recouping $425,000. So I think all of the team, we made like a total of about 1.6 million, 2 million, but, split evenly because I'm that kind of guy between 4 of us. And again, we didn't do it very well, so we missed out on all kinds of extra bonuses.
Oh, yeah.
But, that's some bad investment.
Well, it would be, but then you have to weigh up how much fun you actually had. And you go, well...
High.
So once we got into the briefing room and we got the initial briefing, and you get your first prep mission, which was a basic one to start with, like they all are with the heist. It scales in difficulty and complexity as you go up. So the first one was basically go and get ourselves an ambulance, which we then needed for later on. Which that one went quite well, I feel, that mission, until you decided you wanted to drive the ambulance back to the base.
Yeah, I think I got a bit confused about how I should lose the police wanted rating, and I should probably just have rung Leicester or something, right? But in my infinite wisdom, I think I span up off the freeway onto what looked like a really convenient side road that no other car was driving on, and I thought, this is genius, no one will get us here. Spin camera down, it's a rail track, so we only end up going for about like a mile, with me in absolute blind panic that at any minute we're going to get rammed from behind or front on. There was literally no out ramp because we were on a bridge for a large section of it.
Yeah.
And I thought, again, this was just a classic example of like how incompetence or best laid plans can lead to this unscripted sort of great moments in GTA.
Yeah, which is the key thing with everything, really. Like, they set up the missions in a way that is basically, so all of these new missions, well, not all of them, some of these new missions take place in and around just the free roam lobby, so it's not restricted to other players coming in and messing things up for you. So we, actually didn't have any problems, but there could be instances where you go and you steal this ambulance, but then you get ambushed by another group of 4 people trying to do the same thing, and then they'll take the ambulance off you. So it's going to create quite a lot of interesting stories, I think.
Yeah, it's what Rockstar say. There's basically 3 ways to do a prep mission. The first one is obviously to do it, which is what we did. That's what we focused on. The second is to steal it from other people trying to do the prep mission. Like, that's pretty naughty. Like, I wouldn't advise that, but you could definitely see the fun in like waiting outside someone else's base to steal their. And I think there's like a warning that goes off on the map to let you know someone's trying to do it.
Yeah, so everyone's alerted to the fact that someone's got the ambulance.
We didn't have any of that, and I think that adds a whole new layer of complexity to what you do. Now, the third way to do it is, and this is the one Rockstar again say, if you really must do it, they're not advising it, is to buy the stuff. Yeah. So like there is always the buyout option if you are rich enough.
Of course, if you've got an orbital cannon like we did, you can always use that orbital cannon to blast another crew out of existence and then get someone else to just go and pick the ambulance up.
It's pretty savage, but you could do that. So sorry, we got hold of the ambulance, we got finally off the rail track, and we took it back to the base, as I believe?
Yeah, we eventually got it off the train tracks and back into the base, which started the second phase of the prep mission, which is one of the ones where it splits the team up. So we were playing in a team of 4. 2 of us went off to go and get a helicopter, which we had to follow and then take out the guards and hijack the helicopter to take back to where Dan and another guy from Rockstar was. What were you doing? Were you in a hospital?
Yeah, like I know. I don't know what you 2 guys did, and I think the footage we've got is of your playthrough, not necessarily mine. But me and one of the other Rockstar guys, we went to the hospital facility dressed as hospital porters or whatever they were. So we had to go in, weapons hidden, really quiet, and just kind of like walk really slowly up to a room where we checked bodies for essentially like a USB disc or something, which I presume would be hidden inside a human's certain receptacle, right? Now, you don't actually see anything too graphic there, but it turns out that it isn't there. So you end up waddling upstairs to another area to retrieve. And I think at this point, the guy from Rockstar said to me, "We just need to be quiet and not shoot." Oh my god!
Right.
And like, I think I shot someone or something, and then obviously it turns into like a micro bloodbath.
Yeah.
Not huge, but like, you know, at that stage you go from silenced pistols or, you know, automatic weapons to, you know, we're just going to fight our way out of this hospital.
Yeah,
We've
to
got the
weapons
data.
free.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, while that was going on, I was expertly piloting our new helicopter. I think we've got footage of me actually landing it. I mean, I'm going to say it's probably the best helicopter landing you'll ever see. I'm just going to put that out there.
Okay, well...
As we were coming up, in between two trees, just by the steps, everything was going well. Suddenly we're like, right, we're waiting for you guys outside. How's everything going? It's like, yep, it's fine. Then you come running out, shooting, guns blazing, loads of police cars start turning up on the street, and everyone's just like, get in the chopper, get in the chopper, get in the chopper. So that was an interesting way to end that little bit of the mission. But we did. We all got in the chopper, and then I managed to fly us back to our lovely base.
Yeah, and that's part one of the first sort of stage of the heist, of which there's 3 stages. So part 2, and this is where the game really hots up, was much more interesting, James.
Yeah, this is a thing with the new Doomsday Heist, is they're much more over the top and much more elaborate than anything you've done before. It used to be go and rob that convenience store, then you'll build up to robbing the bank and you'll take the money. But now, I mean, this second stage was maybe my favourite stage. It was go and get these new cars, which are definitely not DeLoreans.
Oh my god, don't even say it.
Sorry.
They're called Deluxos, James. Deluxos.
Go and get the Deluxos.
They just so happen to look like a really famous 1980s sports car that may have been popularised in a film starring Michael J. Fox.
Yeah, and,
that's all I can say.
Yeah, the doors open exactly the same way, and they've got paint jobs that you know, if you've been around and you've seen that film or watched the trailer, then wow. So you go and get them. The mission starts off with you basically just have to steal 4 of them for the one each member of your crew, and then you take it to one of the paint job shops and just respray it into whatever you want. So I chose traditional colours. Other people chose pinks and greens and whatever.
I went with like chrome blue, like Lester he does. If it wasn't already obvious enough, Lester recommends that brush steel is the way to go. I don't know why, for what authentic reasons, but we did go with colours. So that takes you then essentially to the it's where it really ramps up, the second part of the second act. What happens there, James?
Which is amazing, basically. You're driving along, you have to get your phone out and hack vans that you're following around. So each of you get a different target. It's like A, B, C, and D marked on the map. Yeah. And then you have to coordinate with your team going, I'm going to go A, I'm going to go B, C, and D.
And these targets are like vans, right, that are driving around. So you have to kind of intercept them on the fly, don't you, on the streets?
Yeah, so the first bit of the upgrade that your non-80s car has got, the Deluxo has got, is like machine guns on the front. So you have to drive up to these vans, and there's guys that are hanging out the back with machine guns trying to shoot you off, and you just have to stay in a certain radius so you can hack the data from one of these vans without your car getting blown up.
Now, the first surprise about the Deluxo's upgrade isn't just the cup holder or the leather seats. No, you have in fact got, well, A, machine guns fitted, and then B, you have homing rockets. So
yes.
the guy on the back shooting me was giving me a little bit of fly style, but not when I sent a homing rocket into his nose.
Good. I think the main point of that mission is not to destroy the vans until the end. So as long
that
as
would
you
be bad.
Yeah. So as long as you've got the data first, then you can blow them up.
Yeah.
Which leads you on to the next bit, which is another set of vehicles that is like marked A, B, C, and D again. So we had to re-coordinate ourselves and go, right, who's going to go for this? And you start heading towards your marker and then realise that I was like, oh, that's by the docks. That's interesting that it's going away from the docks now. And you're like, oh, well, now the marker's in the sea. Like, how am I meant to get over there? And as you drive up to the docks, a little prompt comes up that just says, hit X to go into hover mode. So as you're driving to the edge of the docks, you just hit X, and immediately your car transforms into like an amphibious, well, not quite amphibious because it doesn't go underwater yet, but you can transform it into something that glides over the docks, and then you go and chase down a boat, which is super cool.
Yeah, it's really great. I mean, it's almost as if where we were going, we didn't need roads. But it doesn't actually say that.
No.
But yeah, you do get to hover right over the beach, and you're chasing, these. Well, they're not obviously vans on the sea. That would be weird with their
boats.
giant, boats on the sea, and you're in your hover car speeding after it. And at this stage, it's just exhilarating. You're like, oh my god, this is ridiculous. We're speeding along the sea, chase some vans. What could be next that could be more exciting than this?
And if some of you have paid close attention to the trailer, you'll know where this is going. But the third stage of this mission is now we have to go and hack a giant plane which is stationed at Los Santos Airport. So you all drive in the runway in a convoy of 4 after this plane, and you're like, oh, the plane's going to take off, and it takes off, and then you get another prompt. You hit the button again, and you're flying. Yeah,
you get to, this is amazing. Like, you're all chasing it down the runway. All things look doomed. It's like a scene from Mission Impossible. And then suddenly you get to pull back on the stick, and you're like, wow, my hover car can fly a little bit. It can fly a little bit higher. It can fly. Oh my God, we're like, we're at 10,000 feet. Literally the 4 of you, like space fighters.
Yeah,
it's absurd. All bets are off at this stage, right?
Because then loads of helicopters turn up as well. So one of you has to continue hacking the giant plane and staying within range of the plane, while the others spin round in midair and try and take down attack helicopters.
Yeah, it's complete. At this stage, it's madness. But, I mean, you don't care. It's tremendous fun. It's good banter. It's all about, I'll hack, I'll go above his wing so I can get the lock on. You go around the side, you take out the choppers. Laughing just because of the absurdity of what you're doing. Like, and again, my advice would be, and it's too late for this now, is don't listen to what we've just said and ruin it for yourself. But that's too late. So you've done it now. But it is still a brilliant moment. And that kind of brings, when you hack it and you can take down the plane, that's the end of the second part of Act 2.
Yeah, and then you're on to the third bit, which for us encompassed buying one of the new vehicles in the game, which is called the Avenger, which is basically a giant mobile command center, which is a helicopter but also has VTOL, so it has vertical takeoff and landing. The propellers shift backwards and forwards depending on what mode you're in. This is another extreme cost. Millions again. Millions and millions of pounds.
Even for like a Mac daddy like myself with unlimited resources, you could feel the pinch as this one went out at the bank. And I think you went on to, you go onto your phone, you go onto the website. I think you go on Warstock and you can pop out for one of these. But oh my God, it's expensive.
Yeah, no, you don't need it. That's important.
It's just cool.
Yeah.
And you're basically buying a flying weaponized house.
Yeah, because inside it, when you were flying it, the people in the back get to just walk around the back room of it, and you can sit in the cannon chair and fire off rockets and things, and you can have a little chat, and you can all just hang out. But it's a really cool space, but it is millions of dollars.
Yeah, and you can also, there's a weapons bench in there, so you can do various different customizations whilst you're in the air. So it's a really cool piece of kit. You can see loads of people using it in YouTube videos and online. So we go in this very indiscreet mobile weaponized base, and then headed to a military bases, I believe, to extract something of great worth.
Yeah, we went to one of the, not so secret bases in the whole of Los Santos, Fort Zancudo, which is a lovely place to go back to. Not underground this time. We were there to steal some data from one of the towers, so we all piled in there. Not so subtly. I think there was definitely a way to do it stealthily, but there was a few calls of weapons free and a few clips got fired off. I'm going to say by accident, but hey, who knows? So we went in there, we went to the top. While you're transferring the data, you have to defend it from people coming up the stairs.
Yeah.
Then you have a big escape plan, basically. Our escape plan initially was go and get back in the Avenger, but turns out it was quite a long way away because we'd parked it quite far down the runway when we landed.
Yeah, I think I overshot the runway by the length of the entire runway on the way in, so I had to VTOL it. And I'd left it just at a really inconvenient getaway location.
Yeah, so we decided the best thing to do was planes. So we all got an individual plane, took off from Fort Zancudo, and I'd love to say smoothly made our escape, but there was definitely a few crashed planes on the way past.
Yeah, I think, again, to lean on my flying experience, I thought, I got back in the plane and went, wow, I haven't played GTA Online for a while. I'm definitely really good at flying. I'll just instantly do a loop-the-loop.
Oh,
to show how cool I am.
Yeah.
And then obviously when we all restarted after I crashed and lost our last life, that went down really well. And on the second go, I think, again, everyone took off, and I couldn't find a plane, and spent ages running along the floor, desperately fighting for my life. And I think eventually, on my last bar of health, or I ate another power vest to keep going. We just made it out, and I think we went from there up high into the sky, possibly under duress and fighting from other planes. And you get then, from the data you steal, you get pinpointed to a location of what is a top secret helicopter that you need to steal. And I think the way we got to that was basically bailing out of our fighter jets mid-air, parachuting on a sixpence onto the plane itself. I say the plane, the chopper itself. And what was cool about the chopper?
Well, eventually what is cool about the chopper is it's not, I don't think it's activated at this stage, but it's got a special cloaking mode which basically hides it from the radar from all police and everyone else for about 3 minutes. So you can activate that if you need to get rid of the police, and then you're basically just flying invisible over Los Santos. So it's good for getting away from everyone if you've got wanted levels and safely getting back to your base, which is what we did. And then you use that chopper again for the final setup when you have to fly it to another secret government facility where you're going inside a very heavily secured server room to steal the final bits of data.
Yeah, and like breaking into the server room, it's cool. It's at those kind of like desert satellite things, a secret underground base. As I remember, on the way in, you like have to fight your way in, and there's loads of guys stood outside. And I remember like running a few over with my sports car. It's a really exciting entrance. But as soon as you get inside, you get the opportunity to sit at like remote automated turret guns, and then you sit there at your little desk, and there's like, tens and tens of cars and tanks and guys run in. You're just letting off these massive rockets and machine guns to clean them all up, which is super cool. And everyone's got their own little gun turret.
Yeah, there's definitely a way in that's stealthy that can go a bit wrong, but on the way out, that's it. You get spotted, and it's basically all hell breaks loose, and you have to fight your way back out of this giant server room.
Yeah, which is great. And so then when you actually head to the server room itself, I mean, that again is, as I remember, quite a lot of clambering, climbing, lots of really cool, that thing you do when you've got friends in the room and you pretend you're in special forces and clench your fist and move it forward and like engage. And
there's a lot of you take the guy on the left, I've got the one on the right. Ready? Yeah. 3, 2, 1.
3, 2, 1. Drop him, headshot, and it makes you feel briefly as if you're cool and not some kind of buffoon who's living out his fantasies in GTA
Who's crashing
Online.
planes all over the shop.
So that's all really, really cool. And then you eventually get to the server farm itself, where you have to like hack a few different. Everyone gets a terminal each, right, to hack.
Yeah, and the hacking mechanic is quite good actually. It's you have to connect the lines from one side of the other, and it's basically a trial and error. You put them in, and it tells you you've got 2 out of 4 right, and then you have to work out which ones are wrong and which ones are right, and eventually connect them all up. But you have to do one each basically, so you're all relying on each other to understand and make that happen.
Yeah, I did that comically clumsily. You sort of hazard upon it. You have to do.
Hey, I didn't wasn't going to mention anyone in particular. I just said you got to work as a team.
I know. All right. Well, anyway, you sort of you rig these things up side by side, but when you rig them all up, you do like a button to test them all, and it tells you which ones are right and which are wrong, and you do it by a process of elimination. I definitely got them all wrong on my first go, but whatever, right? Whatever.
Yeah, we got there.
We got there, and then obviously when that's done, a gazillion super armoured dudes come in to try and take you out in the server room, and it's quite testily fighting your way out. Like you think you've taken people down, but like they don't stay down.
They take a lot of bullets. Those special SWAT guys. So there's a lot of fighting your way out of that works in stages. The checkpointing is actually pretty good.
Yeah.
We got killed definitely a few times and had to restart that mission, but it was only from the bit that we were absolutely at. So you fight your way out of the server room. You then get into the street level, where there's another fight where there was definitely an inappropriate use of rocket launchers a few times, which
some clown got confident and thought he'd fire a rocket from behind cover, killed himself.
Yeah,
don't know who that was.
And that was when we didn't have any lives left. You get like 2 team lives as you do, so we had to restart that. But then you end up back getting up onto the roof. You all get back in the chopper. You activate the stealth mode. You take the chopper back to your base, and everything is dandy.
Yeah, and that's kind of that. That's like part 1 of the 3 stages of Heist.
Yeah, only part 1.
Yeah, and that took 5 hours. That was as long as we played. Like we've probably talked about the key beats, what it would talk cost to actually get involved. And the thing to stress really is like it's super fun.
Yeah.
And you know, this won't be news to most people who are listening now, but you know, it was a reminder certainly to me that, you know, wow, GTA Online's still great. Like it's possibly, you know, actually the visuals as good as they are, and maybe slightly showing their age, which sounds ridiculous to say, but I guess as we've edged towards a sort of 4K reality and the cusp of, you know, new machines, it's possibly starting looking a bit creaky. But you know, hey, and also the things we haven't talked about are that there's music specially recorded for the game.
Yeah, well, there's a few things that we should probably touch on before we leave you for this special episode. Number one is correct. There is new music and a brand new radio station, which you'll find on the dial.
Yeah, and it may or may not be hosted by someone you know. Let's call them Barry Waves.
In the traditional GTA style, let's call them that and see if you can work out who that might be.
Yeah, I thought that was a really cool touch.
But that's a brand new radio station, brand new songs, brand new interludes from Barry Waves on the hosting duties. So that's great. You would have seen in the trailer there are definitely jetpacks. You can buy the jetpacks, I think, from Warstock. It was on one of the options menus that we looked at, but we didn't get them for the missions that we were doing. But you can see them on there. You've seen them in the trailer. The room that they are in the trailer looks uncannily like the inside of that square room on top of Mount Chiliad. So if I had to guess, I would say the end of Act 3 will end with you going there and putting on those jetpacks finally and blasting your way out of the top of the mountain.
Yeah.
That's what I'd guess.
Yeah, I can only see the ending having something to do with a random rogue AI taking over the world / aliens. It will have something that's like properly bonkers at the end of it. And, you know, in a weird way, this almost feels like, and I might be overthinking this, it's the end of GTA Online. Like, where do they go from here? Like, can it get more ridiculous from this point? You know, maybe it can if you look at some of the kind of stunt creator stuff they've done and some of that crazy things. But
it could, yeah. But I think you're right.
Where do you go from Doomsday, James? I ask you.
Well, part 2. Surely.
Doomsday Part 2.
The AI's back.
Oh, man. This is like every superhero film ever. How many apocalypses can there be?
I think you're right, though. I think that this does feel like now, definitely with the Chiliad mystery and the inclusion of jetpacks, which everyone has wanted since basically day one. The mystery's going to be solved. The jetpacks are in the game. Everything that anyone wanted is in there. It feels like a great way to tie everything up as we go towards, let's say, for instance, Red Dead.
Yeah, because obviously, whilst Rockstar, there is no mention whatsoever of GTA Online being anything other than fully supported as it has been, and the numbers are huge, and I think that will perpetuate, and it could be for years to come, right? Who even knows? But Rockstar do have another open world game coming with Cowboys, and I think they will definitely want some people to play that at least as well. Now, where do we go in terms of segue without me being shot down by snipers, James?
Well, I'm not sure we can, because I was just thinking about that very same thing. So, let's just say there are other things in the Doomsday Heist update that you will want to be able to go and check out from day one. So, if you're getting to play it on day one, and you get a certain way through this DLC pack, there is something cool in there that you'll want to go and investigate.
Yeah. Like, if you can pull yourself away from Barry Waves, you need to check your emails. That's all I can say.
And there you go. We will be following up everything that we've talked about over the next week. So we'll be maybe discussing some of those details that we've just said at the end. But who knows? But if you've got any other questions about the heist, or if you've got any experiences that you want to share with us, then please do let us know in the comments. We do read all of them, so it'd be great to hear what you guys think and the kind of things that you think might happen next.
Yeah, and what I'd really love to know is exactly like, how many dollars do you have right now? Like, from based on what we've said, you know, does this sound like you'll have to actually physically outlay? And let's be honest, right, even if you did, is it so wrong to give Rockstar some money for this game that they've run for the best part of 4 to 5 years? And I will add in brackets, and they've also made a load of money from it, from people buying loads of whale shark cards. But not everyone, because it's quite possible to play this game and not spend a penny, right?
Yeah, and you know, for that 5 years of play, if you've not spent any money so far, it's going to be the equivalent of 20 to £30.
Oh,
probably.
I know. For another 20 to 30 hours for a game that's probably already given you hundreds of hours of entertainment.
So, you know, make your choices.
Yeah, exactly. You've got to make your choices. But yeah, I want to know, how many dollars you've got right now and how you think those costs of entry will impact you. And I'd also love to know, if GTA 5 o'clock was to return in some capacity, and as James gives me the evils, like, what I'm going to say is we're not coming back full time. I don't see it weekly at the moment. But like, let us know. Like, what would you like us to do? Would you be interested in spin-off shows around Red Dead? Really let us know. Like, and I think we both still exist. Yeah. We have the capacity to do shows. And most of my life now is altering cells on tiny spreadsheets. But when it's not that, I still like to talk about video games.
You're basically like the Lester of our group now. You're the organizer and the technical man.
I'm the sarcastic, short, balding, conspiratorial maniac at the centre of this operation. So yeah, thanks.
Yeah, well, if you've listened this far, then hopefully you are a fan of the show and the things that we've been doing, and of GTA in general. So yeah, let us know about what we can do next, and we will see you again for another show at some point. I don't want to say next week because that's not going to happen, but we will see you again for a follow-up to this show. So until then, see you next time.